Okay, Jubilees 4. There's a couple things I'd like to point out because if you've just read from the King or any other version of the Bible, you usually know the names of. That was my dog. She says hi. You know the names of Adam and Eve, and you know Cain and Abel and Seth. But these aren't actually their names. They were translations, and names don't translate like that. And so Cain is actually Qayin. Abel is Havel. And if you did not read the book of Adam and Eve, you would not know that Cain and Abel are brothers, but they also have sister. They were born as twins. And so Cain had a sister and Abel had a sister. And this is the fifth daughter. So that is where everything kind of blew up in the book of Adam and Eve, is that Adam and Eve were going to swap the daughters of the twins, and Cain was going to have Abel's sister, and Abel was going to have Cain's sister. But then Cain killed Abel, and yada yada, and so they never. Cain ended up with his twin as his wife, twin sister. And in the third week, in the second Jubilee. And one more thing before we begin this, guys. The Jubilee is 50 years. And so we're reading the book of Jubilees. And so it is laid out in Jubilees. It's laid out in 50-year segments. And so we're supposed to be keeping Jubilees, and we're supposed to be keeping the 50 years and the Shabbats and Jubilees and all these kind of times. And in the third week, in the second Jubilee, she gave birth to Qayin. And in the fourth, she gave birth to Havel. And in the fifth, she gave birth to her daughter Awan. And in the first year of the third Jubilee, Canaan slew Havel, because Elohim accepted the sacrifice of Havel and did not accept the offering of Cain. And he slew him in the field, and his blood cried from the ground to heaven, complaining because he had slain him. And Yahuwah reproved Canaan because of Havel, because he had slain him. And he made him a fugitive on the earth because of the blood of his brother. And he cursed him upon the earth. And on this account it is written on the heavenly tablets, cursed is he who smites his neighbor treacherously. And let all who have seen and heard say, so be it. And the man who has not seen and not declared it, let him be accursed as the other. So if you've seen it and you didn't say it, and you've seen a crime but you didn't do anything, you are cursed. Falls for everything. And for this reason, we announce when we come before Yahuwah Eloheinu, all the sin which is committed in heaven and on earth, and in light and in darkness and everywhere. And Adam and his woman mourned for Havel for 4 weeks of years. And in the fourth year of the fifth week they became joyful, and Adam knew his woman again, and she bore him a son. And he called his name Seth. For he said, Yahuwah has raised up a second seed unto us on the earth instead of Havel, for Cain slew him. And in the 6th week he begat his daughter Azurah. And Cain took Awan, his sister, to be his woman, and she bore him Chanock at the close of the 4th Jubilee. And in the first year of the first week of the 5th Jubilee, houses were built on the earth. And Canaan built a city, and called its name after the name of his son Chanock. And Adam knew Cana, his wife, his woman, and she bore yet 9 sons. Now this is different. Now this is the first anomaly. And this is the first difference that I can find in the book of Adam and Eve and Jubilees. Because the book of Adam and Eve is very clear. They had 5 kids, and 5 kids only. So I don't have an answer for this. And I know some places say Adam and Eve had like 23 kids here and there. The book of Adam and Eve clearly shows there were 5 kids and 5 kids only. And from those 5 kids, the rest of the world came. So, and she bore yet 9 sons. I don't know where that came from, or if that is even true. And in the 5th week of the 5th Jubilee, Sheth took Azurah, his sister, to be his woman. And in the 4th year of the 6th week, she bore him Enosh. He began to call on the name of Yahuwah on earth. And in the 7th Jubilee, in the 3rd week, Enosh took Noam, his sister, to be his woman. And she bore him a son in the 3rd year of the 5th week. And he called his name Canaan. And at the close of the 8th Jubilee, Canaan took Methuselah, his sister, to be his woman, and she bore him a son in the 9th Jubilee, in the 1st week, in the 3rd year of the week, and he called his name Mahel. And in the 2nd week of the 10th Jubilee, Mahel took unto him to be his woman Dinah, the daughter of Barachel, the daughter of his father's brother. And she bore him a son in the 3rd week in the 6th year. And he called his name Yared, right? Yared, right? No J's in Hebrew. For in his days the angels of Yahuwah descended on the earth, those who are named the Watchers, that they should instruct the children of men, and that they should do judgment and uprightness on the earth. So the Watchers are supposed to come and deal with all this stuff, but the Watchers are bad dudes. In the 11th Jubilee, Yared took for himself a woman, and her name was Baraka, the daughter of Rasuel, a daughter of his father's brother, in the 4th week of this Jubilee, and she bore him a son in the 5th week, in the 4th year of the Jubilee, and called his name Chanock. Now this is a famous one. And Jared was famous as well. Yared, Chanock, they were all very good people of Yahuwah. And he was the first among men that are born on earth who learned writing and knowledge and wisdom, and who wrote down the signs of heaven according to the order of their months in a sefer, that men might know the reasons of the years according to the order of their separate months. And he was the first to write a testimony, and he testified to the sons of men among the generations of the earth, and recounted the weeks of Jubilees, and made known to them the days of the years, and set in order the months, and recounted the Shabbat of the years, as we made them known to him. And what was and what will be he saw in a vision of his sleep, as it will happen to the children of men throughout their generations until the day of judgment. He saw and understood everything, and wrote his testimony, and placed the testimony on earth for all the children of men for their generations. And in the 12th Jubilee, in the 7th week thereof, he took to himself a woman, and her name was Edna, the daughter of Danel, the daughter of his father's brother. And in the 6th year, in this week, she bore him a son, and he called his name Methuselah. And he was, moreover, with the angels of Elohim these 6 jubilees of years. And they showed him everything which is on earth and in the heavens, the rule of the sun, and he wrote down everything. So this is Enoch, who was a set-apart person. He was even more set apart than the rest of them, but he was very true to our Father, and he was perfect in many, many ways. And he testified to the Watchers who had sinned with the daughters of men, for these had begun to reunite themselves so as to be defiled with the daughters of men, and Chanock testified against them all. And he was taken from amongst the children of men, and we conducted him into the Garden of Eden in majesty and honor, and beheld. There he writes down the condemnation and judgment of the world, and all the wickedness of the children of men. And if you read the book of Enoch, this is completely what happens. He is taken out. He sees the garden. He sees all of this stuff. So this all is right along with the rest of the thing. The only difference that I can see this far in all of these books together is there's a difference in the number of kids of Adam and Eve. And I believe there's only 5. I do believe it's only 5. I might be wrong. I do not know. And on account of it, Elohim brought the waters of the flood upon all the land of Eden. For there he was set as a sign, and that he should testify against all the children of men, that he should recount all the deeds of the generations until the day of condemnation. And he burnt the incense of the sanctuary, even sweet spices acceptable before Yahuwah on the mount. For Yahuwah has 4 places on the earth, the Garden of Eden, and the Mount of the East, and this mountain on which you are this day, Mount Sinai and Mount Zion, which will be sanctified in the new creation for a sanctification of the earth. Though it will be the earth be sanctified from all its guilt and its uncleanness throughout the generations of the world. So when people talk about a heaven, or they talk about where we're going to go, it never ever sounds like we're ever going to leave this earth. At the end of times, we're going to be, our king, Yahushua, will be ruling from Mount Zion, over in the Middle East somewhere. And he just says the 4 places on earth that will be the bomb, and we will actually have access to the garden, which is where we really want to get back to begin with, is at the end. So we are on a trip and a trek back to the garden is where we're going to go. And in the 4th Jubilee, Methuselah took unto himself a woman, Edna, the daughter of Azrael, the daughter of his father's brother, in the 3rd week, in the 1st year of this week, and he begat a son, and called his name Lamech. And in the 15th Jubilee, in the 3rd week, Lamech took to himself a woman, and her name was Bethanus, the daughter of Barachel, the daughter of his father's brother. And in this week she bore him a son, and he called his name Noach, saying, this one will comfort me for my trouble and all my work, and for the ground which Yahuwah had cursed. Now, here we are with Noach, right? We don't even know this guy's name. We know him as Noah. It's not his name. His name was Noach. And at the close of the 19th Jubilee, so we're 19 times 50, folks, in the 7th week, in the 6th year thereof, Adam died. And all his sons buried him in the land of his creation. And he was the first to be buried in the earth. And he lacked 70 years of 1,000 years. For 1,000 years are as one day in the testimony of the heavens. And therefore was it written concerning the tree of knowledge, on the day that ye eat thereof ye shall die. For this reason he did not complete the years of this day, for he died during it. At the close of this Jubilee, Canaan was killed after him in the same year. And Canaan was killed by his grandson, his own grandson, with an arrow. And for his house his house fell upon him, and he died in the midst of his house. And he was killed by its stones. For with a stone he had killed Haval, and by a stone was he killed in righteous judgment. So this is different than we know of in Jasher. We know that Cain was killed by his grandson and Lamech. A different Lamech than the one we have before Noah, but it's a Lamech, and then and he was blind, and he had a kid shoot an arrow, and they thought it was a wild beast, but they actually killed Canaan. So that is what they're talking about, that in the same year his house was killed. He was killed by its own house and killed by its stones. He was killed by his grandson. For this reason it was ordered on the heavenly tablets, with the instrument with which a man kills his neighbor, with the same shall he be killed. And in the manner that he is wounded, in like manner shall they deal with him. And he was shot. He was shot with an arrow twice. Cain was killed with an arrow twice. And in the 25th Jubilee, 25 times 50, Noach took to himself a woman, and her name was Emzara, the daughter of Rachel, the daughter of his father's brother. In the first year, in the 5th week, and in the 3rd year thereof, she bore him Shem. In the 5th year thereof, she bore him Cam. And in the 1st year, in the 6th week, she bore him Japheth. So you guys know of them as Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham, it's not even his real name, it's Cam. And if you guys know that from these three people, basically all of civilization was wiped out, and these were the three of the generation to come. And unfortunately, it was believed that through Ham's generation, which he was cursed by Noah for unveiling his nakedness when he was intoxicated, he was cursed, and all his generations after him. And through those generations came all the giants. And so the giants came through the generation of Cam, the smaller giants, the giants that weren't real big giants, but were still giants compared to men. All right, that's the end of Jubilees 4. Hope you're good.